been right since the day I came out. Struggling mentally, pain in my house. I ain't in prison, but my mind's in jail. I'm not just visiting, I live in hell.
Young World, LOD 321, LOD versus the Internet. The Beyonce performance at the Grammys last night was fucking spooky and just a blatant ritual right in everybody's face, just like all these events really are. But shout out to Third Eye Eisner for sending me the clip, because my plan was to sit there and watch the whole show, you know what I'm saying, watch the Grammys in real time like I do with other events, make videos about it as it's going, what I put together. But I was at Walmart messing around with a purchase I bought, trying to get my money back. I was out there for like a whole damn hour. In the end, messing around and got beat for like $45. So I wasn't happy about that shit, them evil bastards. But anyway, I was stuck over there dealing with some dumb shit. So I missed it on the show. So by the time I got home, it was like halfway through. But Third Eye Eisner sent me the clip. So shout out Third Eye Eisner. And when I seen this clip, I was like, this was one of the most craziest things I've seen in a minute. They're pushing this Illuminati ritual stuff further and further and further. I did the video about Beyonce announcing she was pregnant on February 1st and what that meant, how she was replicating the goddess Sophia. You can look at that. I put that in the description. And you look at that video, but that's not the first time that Beyonce was replicating goddesses, Egyptian goddesses, African goddesses, Illuminati goddesses, whatever you want to call them. It wasn't the first time. But this is where she took it to a different step. This was a ritual. Just like Lady Gaga coming out on her Super Bowl performance was a ritual. It's called a fear ritual. Let me get into that in a minute. A fear ritual is where they really tap into your emotions. Like I said, I'll get into that in a second. But on the last video with the Beyonce pregnancy, I told you that Beyonce has 33 all in her name. Baby Hoax has 33. That word has 33 through it. And like I said, I didn't, in that video I said I don't know if she was really pregnant this time or not. But I said the Baby Hoax definitely referred to Blue Ivy. You know, in that video I forgot to say that Blue Ivy has 33 all through her name. But the thing about Blue Ivy that's special in this situation is Blue Ivy and Grammys. Grammys also has 33 in it. And also the word gramophone, which is the picture of the Grammys, the award itself. That's where Grammys comes from. It's called a gramophone. It's the first instrument to record sound. Sometimes some people call it a gramophone, some people call it a phonograph, but really the two names only come from two different brands. So really it's the same thing. A phonograph and a gramophone is the same thing. The first instrument to record sound. And that, like I said, gramophone itself also has 33. But Blue Ivy and Grammys have, look how many different identical numerology Blue Ivy and Grammys has. Because Blue Ivy, she was like a big part of the Grammys last night. They kept showing her she was like a theme in the Grammys. So you got the ordinal, reverse ordinal, Sumerians, and Satanic, and Blue Ivy and the Grammys both have they both have the same numbers in both of them, all them systems, along with them both having 33. You know what I mean? Now, the whole thing with the ritual, like I said with Lady Gaga, that was a ritual coming in on the strings at the Super Bowl, because it gives you a minute to feel like something might happen. You know what I'm saying? Just like with Beyonce with her performance last night when she leaned back in the chair. All these things are always rituals. All these Super Bowls, the Grammys, the Oscars, all these big events where all these people are watching, because the way rituals work and the way demonic energy and demonic forces work is the more people that participate at the same time, the more powerful the ritual can be. Like, you don't have to believe in this stuff, but there's people that live by this stuff. The people that run the world live by this stuff. Whether there's really any real magic to it or not, they believe there is. They do this stuff faithfully. This is what's going on at the Bohemian Grove. If you know anything about the Bohemian Grove, it's called fear rituals. That's why certain pictures come out. You've seen them, what looks to be like they're really burning and killing real human beings at the Bohemian Grove. Of course, they're going to say that they're just dummies or they're just mannequins or whatever like that, but I've seen pictures before of them where it definitely looks like they're real human beings. And this is the whole idea of what a ritual is. I'm going to tell you a short story about what's called a fear ritual, because that's what they're doing. And also, a fear ritual has 666 gematria. So all these things are always called fear rituals. When you watch a Super Bowl and just regular stuff, there's all kind of different rituals that happen in them. especially the halftime shows was really going on. Then the Super Bowl itself, the game itself, if it's the Super Bowl, is fixed. So does a whole different thing, because then it goes out to bets and people betting money and gambling. So that taps into a whole different entity of what's going on. But the halftime shows was really the main things that are happening. So here's what a fair ritual is. A long time ago, I came across what a fair ritual was, because I forget what movie it was. It was something real creepy about the movie I seen, so I started looking it up, and then I came across what was known as a fair ritual. And this is what you have to do in a fair ritual. A fair ritual is different than other kind of rituals. It's different than a regular blood sacrifice. It's different than other kind of stuff. Although it is a blood sacrifice, but it's a specific type. So in a fair ritual, what you have to do is you have to kidnap a person. You have to entrap a person, kidnap them, and torture them. Not so much physically torture them. You have to mentally torment them and torture them to make them feel like they're kidnapped. They're not going nowhere. Your face is going to be the last thing they see. And at that point, after you torture them long enough and mentally torment them and break them down to the point where their body is totally, some people might even pee on themselves, some people, all kind of stuff happens at this point. After this, you have to let them feel like they escaped. And this is why a lot of these rituals are done in the woods. This is why you see a lot of stuff with people doing witchcraft and all this type of stuff. They be out in the woods and all this type of these areas in the middle of nowhere, because these are the areas that you can do stuff like this, and it's easier to do. I mean, you can do this in the city too, but it's harder to be running around chasing somebody and all this kind of stuff. People are going to see it. But like I said, in the woods, this is where a lot of this stuff happens at, in the woods. You kidnap the person, torture them mentally to the point where they're just about all the way broken down. Then you let them escape. You don't actually let them leave, but you let them believe they escaped. Them on their own will did something to where they was able to escape. You left keys out, or you left the door cracked, or you left the whatever they're in open, whatever, so they feel like they escaped. Now as they escaped and they're leaving, their body temperature and their emotions goes from such a rapid extreme change, a super extreme opposite polars, that when that happens, it emits a certain kind of, I don't know, it's supposed to be a gas or a certain kind of chemical or something out of your body that the entities that are present can receive once it comes out, because it can only happen at the moment of extreme rapid polar opposites. So the entities that are around, like for instance, people believe in the music industry, the Baphomet, which is also called Rain Man, is the entity of the music industry. And a lot of rituals that happen in music and a lot of things they do are behind the Baphomet's direction. So because the Baphomet is receiving all this energy that's coming off of people. This is what all this stuff revolves around. These rituals and all this satanic stuff is all about energies and emotion. So like I said, kidnap them, let them feel like they escaped, let them get away for a couple minutes. And once they're getting away, you recapture them again. But the minute you recapture them again, that's when you kill them right away. You don't even really give them time to really get back into being fearful again. You don't give them time into letting their body go back to being in the state of fear, in a state of torment, because you killed them immediately after you capture them again. I know this sounds crazy, but this is something that people practice. This is something that people do. It's a fear ritual. It sounds fucking totally bizarre and bogus. I already know. Shit, it seems you know what I be doing and the shit that I be talking about and the videos I be making. Shit sound crazy to me. So what I'm saying, you know this shit sound crazy, but this is what people do. I didn't make this up. Capture them, then you kill them at that moment, and at that moment you kill them. Like I said, when they're in that state of mind and their body is in that certain temperature and the chemical they're giving out at that certain time, whatever entity that the people who are doing it are trying to sacrifice this person to, that entity can receive the energy, because it has to be at that specific certain kind of body temperature or that specific kind of chemical that's being let out, or the specifics of the situation pertain to that specific entity that they're praising or they're trying to, like I said, sacrifice the person to. And it sounds crazy, and that's what happened last night. What Beyonce was doing on this chair when she was leaning back on this chair, because anybody that's watching that's going to automatically make anybody feel fearful, at least for a split second. You see this pregnant lady whose pregnancy has been splashed all over the media since she first announced it. It's been the biggest thing going on. The picture, Instagram picture, is the biggest picture ever on Instagram with views and likes and stuff like that. So you see this woman up on the table and then leaning back on the chair into a position that where if the chair breaks, you know she's going backwards, and she got these babies in her stomach. Anybody with a conscience is looking at that, and then that split second is going to make your heart drop, even if for just a quick second. Because at that point, yeah, she's performing, but this is real danger at this point, at least the way you're seeing it. And actually, it is real danger, because of course the chair is set up, I'm sure it's made of steel, and it has like the best metal, you know what I mean? It's the strongest chair fucking probably in the world, and it's definitely probably wasn't going to break. But the idea that it possibly could put you in a state of fear for even a split second. So all the people that was in there watching that, and not only the people that was present at the Grammys themselves, everybody watching it on TV, everybody watching it wherever they was watching it at, felt for that moment like, oh shit, it puts you in that quick second. It makes you emit that certain kind of energy, and even if it's just for 1 second. And that's what this whole stuff is about. That's what a lot of these rituals are about, these performances. Like Lady Gaga coming in at the Super Bowl on strings from way up out the sky. Me personally, I didn't think her performance was great after that, but as far as her coming in on them strings, that definitely was above and beyond, because regardless of the fact, she definitely put her life on the line for that performance. All what it took is one of them strings to break, and she's done. She would have been dead falling from that high up. So that part of it was definitely above and beyond. And it's like I said, just like with Beyonce, so she's leaning back on this chair with supposedly 2 babies in her stomach. So that just goes to show you the length, the depth that these satanic people will go to make you, to get any kind of emotion out of you. Because the world is, the farther we go in the world, the crazier stuff is getting. It's harder and harder to get real emotions out of people. That's just the nature of what we're doing out here. Like, everything's on TV for kids to see. Everything is crazy. What used to be rated R is now just rated PG. It's not even that serious no more. So they have to keep going further and further and further as the years go on. You getting more, pushing more and more and more to get more out of you. And that's what they're doing with this stuff. When's the last time you seen a pregnant performer on a stage lean back on a chair all the way back to damn near a 45-degree angle, to where it looks like one slight movement of that chair, one of them legs breaking that chair, she's gonna fall the hell back with these babies in her stomach, and possibly the babies will die. So all in one, that's a ritual and a sacrifice, and it just shows you everything right there. It's like, this is all sick. And like I said, this is the stuff that they do at these places like Bohemian Grove and stuff like that. And is there real magic to it? I'm not gonna sit here and say there is or not. You know what I mean? Like, do I believe there is or not? It's irrelevant. It don't matter. But whether I believe it or not, whether you believe it or not, people that run the world believe in this stuff. This is the kind of stuff they do. And that's a whole different story of where blood sacrifices come from, and how I made a story. Like, at the end of the video is the thing that pops up about the blood sacrifice video that directs you to that. That's kind of what that's about. And I tell you about how the people that raided Egypt and raided Africa years ago, which is where all this goddess stuff is coming from, which all they're doing, that's where all this idea is coming from. But the thing about it is the people that raided, that have all this information, don't really understand the information. So they're replicating this, what they think are certain things, and they don't really have a full knowledge of what it is. They have all the information, but they don't know how to really access the information. They know how to access the information as far as a visual is. That's why symbolism is so important. That's why all these things are so important. What you see is so important to the Illuminati and people that run the world, because that's their highest manifestation of this information that they have. It's all a visual. They don't really have a interconnection with it. It's all a visual, physical connection they got with it. Because like I said, they don't really understand it, but that's a whole different story. But that's really what was going on with Beyonce at these Grammys.